Welcome to the Defence Property Podcast, the podcast where we talk about all things property investing and real estate for Australian Defence Force personnel. Whether you're looking to build and scale a property portfolio or relocating across Australia, we've got the insights and tips for less stress and more success. Let's dive in.
And welcome back to another episode of the Defence Property Podcast. Today we've got a special guest who's up in Townsville and a bit of a property investor himself, current serving member. Callan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Kane. Nice to be here.
Likewise, mate. Excited for this one. So I guess we'll just kick off and get into it. But tell us about yourself now, just high level where you are and what you're doing in defence.
Yeah, too easy. My name's Callan. I'm currently up in Townsville. I'm in the Army, currently an infantryman at 1 RAR, so the 1st Royal Australian Regiment, and bounced around, used to be in 7 RAR.
Yeah, nice. Cool. And how long ago did you join?
I've been serving for about 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, cool. How old are you, if you don't mind sharing?
That's all good. I'm 27, 28 soon.
Yeah, sweet. What did you do before defence?
Defence was honestly just a lot of hospitality. Finished school.
Yep.
Did some labouring. Worked 2 hospitality jobs south of Melbourne. Classic save up, travel, come back, save up, travel. Nice. When I ran out of money, that's when I joined.
I might get a real career and get into something. Cool. So take us back to the start. What was, we'll get into your property portfolio in a moment and talk through that, but what was the conversation around money like growing up in the household, and what sort of exposure did or didn't you have to that conversation?
I had quite a good upbringing with money. Not that we were well off or anything, but mum and dad were big into flipping houses. So mum, police officer, dad, warehouse manager. So just your average jobs, but they did really well with building and flipping houses. So I was always, my brother and I were always in conversations about property.
Yeah, okay, cool. Where was home?
Our home was south of Melbourne, so on the Mornington Peninsula.
Okay, nice. So you ended up in the Army, not the Navy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool. All right. Okay, so mum and dad were a bit of flippers. Like, what age did you start sort of paying attention to that and noticing that they were flipping, or was it only afterwards, growing up, that you sort of realised what was happening?
I was probably going to around year 10, year 11.
Yeah, okay.
They sold a couple of houses and they did well there. And then that kind of opened my eyes, how much money is in property.
Yeah.
Especially at that time.
Yeah, okay. Especially what, sorry?
Especially at that time, it was interesting to see how much you could make with property compared to like a normal wage, like I am now.
Yeah. And we'll get into, I guess, that on your portfolio in a moment. All right, and then, so probably mid-teens and that, you're starting to realise mum and dad have done all right off property, and that's planted a bit of a seed. Gone travelling a little bit around and getting a few... Did you finish school?
Yeah, I finished school.
Yep.
And then basically straight into labouring, hospitality.
Yeah, okay. So a bit of labouring, a bit of hospitality, a bit of travel for a few years after school, and then joining defence at 22.
Yeah. Best thing I've done travelling before, especially once you've got a full career. You won't have much fun.
Where'd you go?
I did like 6 months in Asia, did 6 months in Europe, see the family. That was over like
lovely.
2-3 years.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, lovely. And then joined defence, infantry. At what point did you start considering property, once you had joined?
Probably maybe year 2. So my brother, who's a few years older, he was very big into the property game. He wasn't exactly in the market yet, but he was reading all these articles and these podcasts about buyer's agency, and I was the guinea pig. And that was probably maybe 2 years into my army career.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right. So we're talking probably about 4 years ago?
Yeah, about 4 years ago.
Okay, so 2022-ish, around there. Cool. And is that when you made your first property purchase?
Yeah, so that's when I made my first property, around 22.
Yeah, okay, cool. And just talk us through that one. Like, what was did you save a deposit? Did you have a deployment? Like, what was just the general approach of buying that first property?
So that first property, for better or worse, it was just after COVID. So
Yep.
a lot of
Better.
work, especially the army, we were being sent everywhere. A lot of work and not a lot of places where you could spend your money.
Yep.
So I saved a good deposit, around 65,000, and that for my first property, which was 335,000, about an hour south.
Sorry, say that again. Just cut out for a second. You saved a good deposit of how much?
Around $65,000.
Okay, cool. Yep. And then made a purchase of 350?
335, an hour south of Perth.
Okay, yep. An hour south of Perth. What was the suburb?
Greensfield,
Okay,
managed
cool.
area.
Nice. Yep. And where were you posted at this point? Up in Townsville?
So at that time I was in Adelaide.
In Adelaide. Okay. Yep. So you're living in Adelaide, purchase in Perth. Did you use a buyer's agent and get help or do that yourself?
That was with the buyer's agent as well. All of them have been terrific.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And what about like LVR and loan? Do you mind talking us through sort of what that first purchase looked like from a loan and deposit and stuff?
Yep. So I had a bit of LVR on the first. My broker, Paul Vosti, amazing, great man down in Gold Coast where you are.
Yeah,
and so that loan was around 300,000 at the time.
Yeah, okay, so what's that? Like you had probably a 10% deposit?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the rent on that at the time? It would have been, what, 400, 450?
If I recall, it was just above 450.
Yeah, okay, so really solid
area.
5.5%, 6% yield in a metro market, which is pretty rare these days. Cool. And then no defence entitlements, you weren't living in it. It was purely just 100% investment. How do we move through, or how did you talk us through like your experience just, with your first investment, managing a tenant, managing that cash flow of having rent in, repayment out, and maintenance and bills and stuff? Like, how was that process?
In the beginning, once I had the property, it was fine, and a few weeks in, you understand how it goes. But the first few weeks, I was shitting myself. But once you can pay the bank back every month and everything's smooth, within 2-3 months, it was pretty good.
Yeah, cool. Right, and then how long? So 22, like we were buying in Perth around that time, and 23, and obviously had some amazing results for clients. So when did you transition into the second property?
And the second property was 2024, and the second.
Okay, so about 2 years on the
Yeah, about 2 years. I was on deployment in the UK at the time, so it was a bit stressful getting all that done, but it got done, which was nice. A few late night phone calls. However, that was about 2 years ago. That property was 390,000.
390. Yep.
So that's up in.
Did you in Townsville in 2004? Okay. Did you use equity from Perth? Because you would have had in the 2 years, I would imagine, a good 30 or 40% minimum growth on that Perth property in that time. Did you pull equity out, or did you save another cash deposit?
We only pulled, I think it was like 10 grand. So it was very, very little equity out of the first one, but everything else was cash.
Yeah. Okay. So you like went pretty hard on the savings to be holding your first property, managing that, plus saving another deposit. That's pretty full on.
Yeah, it was pretty full on. It was fortunate. I went on a few trips where you work really hard, but you do save a lot.
Which is a huge advantage to the lifestyle. Not only do you earn extra money when you go on those deployments, you also spend less.
Yeah, exactly.
The second purchase, was that with the same bank that you used on the first one, or?
Yeah, same bank. All three have been with NAB, so they've been the handy one. They've been pretty good so far. No complaints here.
What deposit did you save on that? Like another 10%?
Yeah, it was about the same as the first one.
Yeah, okay, cool. What suburbs in Townsville, if you don't mind
It's
sharing?
in Woolgaroo, so not too far from the military base.
Yeah, okay, cool. Do you live in that one now?
No, I'm renting with a friend at the moment.
Yeah, okay. Are you you are considering it, or because it's probably an opportune, depending on the posting, to roll Dohas into that?
Yeah, so I'm still thinking about it when the lease ends.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. There's a few.
Yeah.
It depends where I go in the next year. So there's a few things up in the air.
Yeah.
But it's on the cards.
Yeah. And roughly, what do you think that's? So 2004, again, Townsville's probably done at least 30, 35, 40% since you purchased that. Does that sound like, where would you say that's sort of sitting price-wise, around the
So I got
low fives?
Got my broker to revalue all three properties. And the Townsville one was, I think, up around 45,000.
Okay, so 3.9, so mid-fours.
Yeah, mid-fours.
Yeah, cool. And when was the third purchase made?
The third purchase was last year. That third purchase is in Traralgon, so rural Victoria, a couple of hours east of Melbourne.
Sort of northeast, isn't it? Like Melbourne in the regional areas.
Yeah. That was probably the most stressful buy, mainly because settlement. I was on the Navy ships. In and out of internet access, and let's just say it wasn't a smooth few days.
Yeah, right. How long did it get extended and stuff?
No, I didn't have internet connection the entire day, and then I think maybe 30 minutes before 5 o'clock, when everything closes for the day, I just snuck in and signed the details.
Yeah, okay. Cool. You obviously had a buyer's agent for all three of those. How was the process like? Did that obviously minimise a little bit of stress, I guess, knowing that someone was there paying attention?
Yeah. But they're a lifesaver. I don't think I could have got three properties without all the guidance.
Yeah, okay. So what parts, obviously your buyer's agent will help find the individual property, they'll help find, like they would have recommended Perth, Townsville and Victoria. But what sort of guidance was sort of when it comes to building the portfolio to three?
So the guidance, we had our strategy meeting to begin with, where they just talk about your goals. They kind of go backwards. They find your goal and then find the best way to attack it.
Yep.
So once we did that, we knew what my goals were, and then it was really important, just like the building blocks, the first two properties. First one's always the hardest. And once we got that Perth one, which is done really well, that's opened all these doors. And if I went for a property...
I would have been close to doubled by now.
Say again?
It would have close to doubled by now, Perth?
Yeah, it's almost doubled, which is nice.
Yeah.
And if I went for a property like I could have, and used nearly all my borrowing capacity, that would have really closed the door on number 2 or number 3.
Yeah. Did you save a deposit for the third one in Victoria, or was that an equity release?
It was a lot of equity, but a bit of both.
Cool. Yeah. So how does it feel now managing 3 properties, 3 tenants, 3 lots of insurances and rates? Like, how does the cash flow look and feel, and how do you manage that from just literally bank account wise? Do you have a bank account and an offset account for each property? Like, what? There's many different sort of ways that people manage it.
So with mine, I've got all NAB, 3 offset accounts. That helps a lot. All the stress, like my property agents are angels. I love them. They've done really well. And they just make my life way easier. Nearly all properties come out on the same day, the mortgage repayments.
Yeah.
So I've got a nice little system going on at the moment.
So you have one account for each property? Yeah, and just manage it, just so you can see the ins and outs isolated to each property and just really manage from if anything stands out you can see the fluctuation in the balance or whatever, or the repayment and stuff, and know what it's associated to.
And exactly like counting funds in, funds out, just know where your stress level is. You relax a lot more when you can all see it on paper or on computer. And with all the ownership statements, the taxes, council fees, I've all got that on the computer. Excel spreadsheets. I like to have it all. I'm a bit of a particular. Like to have all the numbers in front of me.
Just talk us through how you go with managing, I guess, buffer accounts or buffer money. A lot of people, I guess, they get held back from wanting to do this or buy a property, or let alone worry about their post-purchase liquidity or money in the bank account. How do you manage that? Do you keep a certain time frame or a certain amount of shortfall? How do you manage your buffer money so you can, I guess, sleep at night?
So buffer money, I've got about maybe 3 months, 4 months in each account.
Nice.
That's just what makes me sleep well.
Is that 3 or 4 months of mortgage repayments, or is it 3 or 4 months of the shortfall amount of each property, or?
3 or 4 for mortgage repayments.
Yeah, okay, cool. So even if your property was vacant for 4 months, you would know, as long as you get a tenant within a 4-month window, you're going to be back on track and just
I'll be good to go.
But obviously, imagine using a buyer's agent, you probably looked at the vacancy rate before you purchased, and you're pretty confident on the quality of stock that you buy that you're not going to get exposed to that.
Yeah, exactly. And with something always goes wrong with property, if it's an aircon that breaks or flooding, there's always something. So it's good to have that back full.
Yeah, cool. And do you manage that into your cash flow projections, I guess, like factor in that something's always going to happen and allocate a bit for maintenance?
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Because, there hasn't been a year where everything's gone swimmingly. There's always something. So,
nice.
I try to account for that.
So as we sit today, do you mind sharing the overall portfolio value?
Yeah. So I got it revalued from the bank, and it's approximately 1.6.
Yep.
The majority of that equity is from the Perth property, which is doing well, and the debt is just over $1 million.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So $500,000 better off from where we started.
Yeah.
Nice. And obviously we're only just starting, so I mean it's fair that Victoria hasn't done a lot if you've only just purchased there. Give it time. And what's the plan in the future for the portfolio, and what's the goal? Like, any ideas bouncing around your head on where you're going to go next?
To go next, I may go backwards to go forwards. I may sell a property, possibly the Perth one. End goal is always just such an arbitrary number, but to have an income of just a normal job, like 80 to 100,000 passive income, that's the dream. So that's maybe a decade or 2 away, but it's something to shoot for.
Yeah. I think one thing I've learnt with goals, generally when we get there, the goal just changes. And when I say change, most commonly I see is the goal gets bigger.
Yeah, move the goalposts.
Yeah. One thing, and that's not always just making the goal bigger, but sometimes it's the goal changes from, building wealth with property to career and other things. But I sort of learned that success is a journey, not a destination. So it's very rare that we just, achieve this goal and then get there and say, all right, I'm done. It's sort of like just building on building, I guess.
Yeah, and exactly. And sometimes when you get to your goal, you have to go backwards if something else comes up in life. Like if you have a family or something goes wrong medically, sometimes you need to put it on pause.
Yeah.
It's not always linear.
And you've not used DOHAS, HPAS, HEPC or any grant or benefit throughout this process?
No, so no grants yet. A lot of that was, I was just trying to get into the property market as soon as possible when I was around 23.
Yep.
So a lot of those properties were interstate, which made all those grants ineligible. unfortunately. I wish I had them as well, but
I mean, but you've done well as well. Like you've got a good strategy. You've built a nice portfolio that you're only starting really. If we can project compound growth on 1.5 million over the next 15 years, it's going to be a nice little yielding and growing portfolio that you can only keep building on.
yeah.
And a lot of those grants and HPAS, DOHAS can potentially still be there, when you're ready.
Yeah, which is it's good to know.
The potential, like you say, I wouldn't say it's a backward step. It could be more of a sideways, that sell Perth, buy somewhere else, and in the same process, maybe refinance Townsville while you're there to DOHAS, and that's going to inject another $700 a month into the portfolio to help just boost the overall cash flow of it.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I'm looking to do that, but it's early days. Yeah.
And what would you say to people that are out there very commonly, like I'm a big fan of the Rentvestor strategy. I think it's a very proven strategy to accelerate our wealth as a civilian, but then once we factor in defence as well with rent assistance, where the defence are subsidising, whether it's living in accommodation, rent or marry quarter, such a strong strategy. What would you say to people that are pondering, I guess, the owner-occupier path over the investing path, especially in defence?
It's all very person dependent, but if I was a single 20 to 30-year-old man that just joined the military, and I've got all these benefits like RA, or if you do live on base, it's very cheap rent. The ability to save with this job, like you do work some horrible hours if you go away on trips, but the ability to save it's better than most opportunities so you'll get out there. So to invest early, that's half the game, just to get that first one, to get in the market and let time help you out.
Time will do the heaviest lifting of the portfolio, and that's where I guess the effects of leverage and compound growth, it needs time to do that heavy lifting. And I guess property investing is all about delayed gratification, isn't it? Where you can feel like $500,000 in equity is a great position, but give it another 10 years and it's going to be a lot better, again. So getting started early, is fundamental to getting that overall market exposure, giving it enough time to breathe and move. What about quite often I come across people and it's very easy in defence to say I'm going on course next week, next month, and then I'm coming back and I'm going outfield, and then after that I've got another course, and all of a sudden 12 months has passed. Like, what would you say? Like, you purchased a property while you're out in the middle of the sea on a ship with limited access to. Like, I really commend that, because you now you've just got that market exposure that's growing while you sleep. If you could have very easily have said, when I get back from sea, what words of encouragement would you give to people to, I guess, not sit on the fence and take action?
That's a good point. So, and especially dependent on what job role you're in the army. Like if you're infantry, like myself, you don't know where you'll be in 2 months, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But sometimes the biggest risk is not to do anything at all. Like if you just wait and wait and wait, you'll see, like from where I was to where I'm now, like property prices, like it would be completely different if I wasn't already in the game.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just got to knock off the fear and just pull the trigger. It is a lot easier if you're not in the jungle or on a Navy ship out in the middle of nowhere. But it's tough.
I couldn't agree more. Like, the property market waits for no one.
Yeah.
And there's always an excuse or always a reason to put it off. I kind of think it's like having children. You're never going to be ready for what's coming.
Yeah.
But, if you can mitigate as much risk along the way and get the right help and stuff, you can really accelerate and build that portfolio.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll never be ready, and it's never up to settlement and when you're signing all the documents, it'll never not be stressful. Well, for me, it's always stressful, but it's either be stressed for a few weeks or a few months and have all the rewards later on, or do nothing and don't get any of it.
Yeah. Was the third one a little less stressful than the first, like taking out away the individual sort of, not being near the internet and on the end of the phone during it, but does it get easier?
Yeah, it definitely does get easier, and you understand all the property jargon and the lingo, and you actually know what they're talking about. The first one, there was a lot of nodding. Yeah, a lot. Oh, yeah. However, the more you get, the more comfortable you are with it.
Yeah, nice. And what's on the horizon, defence-wise and career-wise?
Career-wise, that's a good question. I'm currently off to fly down to Melbourne to learn a language, which I'm lucky enough. It's a tough gig to get, so I'll be down there for about 3 months, which is nice because that's where I'm from.
You can learn a language in 3 months?
You can try. It's basic. They call it a basic course for a reason.
I've been studying English for 40-odd years and I'm still going.
Yeah.
Nice. So what, I guess, as we wrap up and stuff, what advice would you give to, the young soldier, sailor, airman that's out there that might be listening, that's been sitting on the fence thinking about it or just not sure? Give us your sort of top handful of tips to anyone listening.
I would say tip number 1 is consume as much information as you can. So, like, big into podcasts. My brother would send me one basically every day. It's almost like reading a book. While you're reading or listening, you're a lot more motivated to actually pull the trigger on all of this. If you go away for a few months, you just keep putting it off. So that's probably tip number 1. And tip number 2 is just have a network. So even if it's 1 or 2 people to keep you engaged, because it's so much harder by yourself. I'm fortunate enough I had my brother and my parents and a few friends. So find a network that helps you.
Very good. Well, Callan, it's been great hearing your story. Hopefully there's people out there that listen to it that are inspired to, build either a portfolio they've got and keep building it or take that initial step to get started. I appreciate you taking the time to come on and share your story. If anyone wants to reach out to Callan, just reach us at Discover Buyers Agency and we can connect you. If you want to have a chat about building your portfolio, please reach out, book in via our website. And until next week, thanks for listening.
Lovely. Thanks for having me, Kane. It's been a pleasure.